This regular meeting of the San Marcos City Council to order. Today is January 16th of 2024, and the time is 6 o'clock. Ms. Trevino, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Prather, Mr. Scott, Ms. Garza. Absent. Mayor Houston,
Here.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Here.
Mr. Gleason,
Here.
and Mr. Mendoza.
Here.
Recording in
present.
progress.
Okay, and our invocation tonight will be given by Paul Records, pastor of Victory Chapel.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to lead in prayer. Let's bow our heads as we pray in reverence to our Creator. Dear Lord, this governing body is gathered in order to lead this city forward. We pray you would guide this city council and enable it to make the best decisions possible for the prosperity and benefit of its citizens. As that great King David and psalmist wrote in Psalms 25, show us your ways, O Lord. Teach us your paths. Lead us and teach us. On you we wait all the day. Good and upright is the Lord. The humble he guides in justice, and the humble he teaches in the way. Let integrity and uprightness preserve us, for we wait on you. Redeem Israel, O God, out of all its troubles. And this week, as a new wave of cold temperatures covers the region, we pray that you would be with this city and provide warmth to those who may need it. We pray you would strengthen the state and city utility workers, plumbers, emergency personnel, and maintenance personnel. Provide protection to those who must travel on any frozen road, highway, or interstate. And as this new year begins, let your grace guide us. As we look to you for leadership, empower us to be good stewards of our elected offices and leadership roles. We admit our need and dependence upon you. Let your providence guide our decisions, our debates, and our deliberations. Give us insight into how we can all stand and best serve the people in our city. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Next are pledges of allegiance to the United States and Texas. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you all. That begins our citizen comment time period. The City Council welcomes speakers at work sessions and regular meetings. Persons wishing to speak during those time periods, there is a process to sign up either online or here at City Hall if you're here by 5:45 and say you want to sign in. You may speak once during citizen comment time period, and you may not yield time to others. If you speak now about a public hearing topic, we ask that you not repeat exactly the same comments again during the public hearing on the same topic. You will have 3 minutes to speak, and the timer starts when you state your name. You'll see the timer on the screen. When you start, you'll be in the green. When you have 20 seconds left, the timer shows only yellow. When the timer is red, your time to speak is up, and there will be a bell that will ring automatically. The mayor and council will endeavor to ensure that meetings are conducted in a courteous manner and an atmosphere free of defamation, intimidation, personal insults, profanity, or threats of violence. And we have several speakers tonight. I'm going to read in the order in which you will be speaking. And that will be Charlie Sears, followed by Sloan Rucker. Then Lisa Marie Capoletta will join us remotely, followed by Darlene Munoz, and then Rodrigo Amaya. Charlie Sears here. And you can pull that microphone down, whatever, move it however you need to. If you'll state your name for the record, please.
Charlie Sears.
Greetings, esteemed council members. Thank you for your time. I am speaking out today in support of Councilperson Garza's resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire in the Israel-Palestine conflict. According to a CNN article from today, January 16, 2024, the Palestinian death toll from the ongoing Israeli airstrikes is now exceeded 24,285, of which 75% are children, women, and elderly people. On December 17th, a group of over 60 activists and I had a peaceful vigil for the thousands of slain Palestinians here in San Marcos. It was a great event. We listened to stories from local San Martians who have had family members trapped in refugee camps in the region because of the sustained immoral conflict. This issue is a global one for certain, but it is also local. I want to encourage the council to look to the inspiration of the San Marcos civil rights trailblazers and other San Martians who did the right thing even though it was hard. The pushback is always the same. This issue has nothing to do with our small town. We are all interconnected and our voices mean something. Please honor the global community by sending a message of solidarity to our Palestinian brothers and sisters in this most trying time. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Sloan Rucker.
Hello. So I'm also here today to call on the San Marcos City Council to propose and approve a ceasefire resolution in Israel and occupied Palestine. So as he stated, the death toll in Gaza has surpassed 24,000 with more than 61,000 injured. A total of 1.9 million people have been displaced across the Gaza Strip. And this is not in Gaza alone. At least 355 Palestinians have been killed in the West Bank due to Israeli attacks. South Africa is suing Israel for genocide in the International Court of Justice, and they are preparing a lawsuit against the US and the UK for their complicity in Israel's war crimes in Palestine. I call on the City Council members to do the right thing and pass a ceasefire resolution. This is something that has been done already across the US, from San Francisco to Detroit and Atlanta. Texas has a moral obligation to oppose the war, as Texas provides many of its weapons to Israel. Lockheed Martin, Elbit System, and Boeing are all based in San Antonio, which I know makes the public's call for a ceasefire in that city even more contested by their local government. But we are not San Antonio. We have little to no involvement in Israel's genocidal war in Palestine. However, it is not enough to be simply neutral. Passing a ceasefire resolution would send a strong message that this small city in Texas stands against human rights violations on a massive scale. I've heard people in town who are too scared to hang a Palestinian flag for fear of retribution. Does this city want to uphold a culture of a podunk, xenophobic college town in the middle of Central Texas in which many people don't feel safe? Or do we want to have a culture of a vibrant, progressive city that denounces Islamophobia and anti-Semitism alike? The choice is yours. Thank you.
And would you state your name for me, please? I don't think you
Sorry,
did.
Sloan Rucker.
Okay, thank you very much. Our next speaker is Lisa Marie Capoletta, who joins us online.
Good evening. My name, excuse me, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we
Apparently
can.
there's sometimes some confusion. Good evening, y'all. My name is Professor Lisa Marie Capoletta. They call me LMC. If there was a nuclear attack, would you be more worried about kids shooting off an air pistol or the actual fallout radiation and its impact on the earth? And I think it's a shame that the can banners do not see the irreversible harm about to occur to the river with the looming high rises. It's my understanding that there's some litigation in the process, as far as I can tell from looking at some of the executive session agenda items that we've had in the past. If you do not become involved, can banners, in the final leg of the downtown master plan, then all of your work is for naught. All you are is concerned about a little kid popping off an air pistol versus the actual fallout and its impact on Mother Earth. Now, if I took a look at my taxes, and I want to remind those who are candidates this year that when you go on the campaign trail and you make the line of argumentation that city does not increase your property taxes, that is a falsehood, and the taxpayers need to call you out on it. On my 2023, just one of the properties, it says City of San Marcos, $1,190.50. San Marcos CISD, $1,957.52. Then we've got Hayes County at $500 and the Special Road District at $39. Then on the piece of property that I bought, so it's landlocked, so developer does not take over that piece of property, because our city planners are hell-bent on having dense housing. You have the city of San Marcos, $504.04. It's just a lot, an empty lot. And then you have the San Marcos CISD at $829 with the Hayes County at $240. Again, they are almost neck and neck. Why did the city staff not compare other cities when they did the salary comparisons for themselves to give themselves raises in terms of tax rates of other cities and income levels of our local individuals? Additionally, if you were the captain of a ship, would you choose between the color of your sail and buy a bling bling sail and some Le Creuset pots to get the water out of your ship? Or would you invest in a bilge pump to make sure that the water is cycling out of the boat? Because after all, you don't want the ship to sink and you to be looking at that sail and go, I should have built a bilge pump. Apparently, with 100 rated as top safe cities, we are rated at 8. We need to keep in mind when we have our budget come around that you focus on the essentials. That is to make sure that we have ample law enforcement who are qualified and community-centered, that our law enforcement have training and equipment. Additionally, we need to make sure that we have firefighters with the correct equipment, such as the ladders, and also ample people, because let's face it, we've got high rises right now on the razor's edge of Dunbar. And moreover, we need to do some training because I'm concerned about flooding in Dunbar. Additionally, well, that's all I got to say. We'll pick it up later. Thank you for your time, and God bless San Marcos.
Next is Darla Munoz. Is Darla? Yeah, okay.
Good evening. My name is Darla Munoz, and I live at 1128 Martin Luther King Drive. I would like to address Agenda Item 13 concerning the Vision SMTX Comprehensive Plan. I've been reading through it slowly and have a few comments regarding the implementation of 2 of its recommendations. I think it's important to remember that the comprehensive plan states that we want to embrace our small town feel. But we can't do that if we continue to allow large, multi-story apartment complexes to be built in our downtown area and that are geared towards student housing. It doesn't look like a small town anymore. Downtown is looking like an urban city. We want a small town feel, and that is clearly stated in the comprehensive plan. We also need to remember that Texas State is the second largest employer in San Marcos, which means that we need to have affordable housing options for the faculty and staff who work there, and not only the students. These employees are permanent residents of our town and may want or need to live close enough to walk to work at the university. Their families may need to be able to walk to the grocery store and the pharmacy and businesses and restaurants in downtown and the library and the river and the parks and the activity center and all the churches that are downtown. We forget the permanent community that works at Texas State when we allow so much student housing. If we continue to allow big corporations and real estate developers to come in and change the dynamics of downtown, we will no longer have a small town atmosphere. Please remember this when you are voting for or against the comprehensive plan. Next, the comprehensive plan states that we need to protect our natural resource of beautiful San Marcos River, obviously. And yet, time and again, large apartment complexes are allowed to be developed along the river. This is potentially dangerous to the river and is going against what the comprehensive plan states. So I have to question why we have a comprehensive plan with objectives and goals and recommendations that look good on paper, but that we may not actually adhere to. For example, the multi-story apartment complex that was being considered for the corner of University and CM Allen should, under the new plan, never make it past planning and zoning, in my opinion. This property is right across the street from the river, which could be very harmful to the natural habitat there. And with it being potentially 7 stories tall, does not belong in our downtown, which is supposed to embrace a small town feel. Therefore, I believe with this new plan, the development project should be denied immediately, but will it? So, either vote against the plan because you do not want San Marcos to have a small town feel and you don't believe real estate development along the river is dangerous, or if you choose to vote for the plan, please make sure that we are actually adhering to its guidelines in your future decisions. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Rodrigo Amaya.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Rodrigo Maya, 322 Laredo Street. Always a pleasure to hear LMC speak, and to the last speaker, thank you very much for standing up for the small town. Couple of things on that last comments, speaker's comments. All these high rises along the river, they don't have the potential to be dangerous. They are. They're very dangerous. Not the potential, they are. All you gotta do is go look at that river right now. It is desperately trying to survive, all this over pumping. But last year, DPS Colonel McCraw got a $45,000 after they messed up real bad at that shooting in Uvalde. Currently, we have a Texas Ranger that's getting paid over $100,000 and still on the payroll. He hadn't been terminated yet. City of San Marcos follows that same lead. We get a agency under the direction of a new assistant city manager. Federally sanctionable is what the headlines read, and they get promoted from public service director or something to assistant city manager. I attended a towing meeting a while back. Got lots of issues with the people that are running the towing. We had a company openly admit to overcharging and price gouging. No investigation because the people that are in charge of that have no knowledge of TDLR regulations. One of the guys that's there, the supervisor, Greer, Marshall, doesn't have any knowledge of how things work. He's in the process of learning. Some of these guys that are in the towing business are buying over $1 million equipment because of the excess and abuse of price gouging. The other issue I have too with the marshal's office is y'all continue to keep this guy named Lloyd Locke, who's been just a figure of injustice here in our community for years. The other day, I'm minding my own business driving on Thorpe Lane. There's no parks over there. He's out there conducting traffic stops on people. While the police department and Chief Stanridge, I don't know what they're doing, but that's not anywhere near a park. Now, we can sit here and argue all you want about jurisdiction and the TCO and their state license to be statewide officers, this and that. You got a city marshal, park marshal, whatever y'all want to call them. They need to stick to the parks. If they want to be doing anything other than that, tell them to apply, reinstate. Some of these guys are running around trying to do interdiction and things they ain't qualified to do. And I could say all this because I've got 20 years under my belt. And I can sit down with any of y'all anytime y'all want to discuss my qualities and my abilities to be able to come and make these statements so that y'all can be, it can be crystal clear that when I come up here and speak on the issues about these law enforcement officers, it's because they're legit. Okay? Thank you.
And now it's time for item 1, a presentation. Ms. Trevino.
Yes, receive a staff presentation on Gateway Monument signs, including final concepts, and provide direction to staff.
Good evening. Sean Condor, Director of Engineering and Capital Improvements, and I've got Charlotte Whitney here, who's the Creative and Marketing Manager of San Marcos Convention and Visitors Bureau. Next slide. So this will be the third time we brought these concepts to council. The first time was in November 2022. We did receive some feedback from council as well as get some direction to go ahead and hire a consultant. The direction provided then was to come back with a more straightforward classic design with horizontal words and prevent some other options or reflect the San Marcos and the Hill Country. And so if you look at the bottom left of that slide, those are the concepts presented in November of 2023. In April of 2023, we came back, based off that feedback, we came back with a couple more concepts, which included, and we got some feedback, and the feedback from council then was to have the river flow to the bottom of the monument, have the stones straight across the bottom and more organically stacked, and let's remove the established date. And the final direction was to come back with 2 concepts. Concept 1 was a simple hill country design. Concept 2 would be a heron image, and I'm going to show those at the end of the presentation. Next slide. So just as a reminder of where these monuments will be located, on the north side of town, it'll be located just north of Yarrington Road. So as you come in from Austin, you'll see it there on the right, right before the Yarrington Bridge. And on the south side of town, it'll be south of Posey Road, right in front of quite close to the Trace subdivision. Next slide. So this will give you a kind of idea of what it'll look like as you're driving along I-35. And this is important because really the TxDOT clear zones are driving our design concepts. It requires more of a vertical orientation, and we wanted to go ahead and proceed with the same size in both locations. And so as you can see here, we have a 30-foot clear zone we have to meet on the left side, and we have a 12-foot clear zone we have to meet on the right side of the signs. And the sign's about 2 to 3 sizes larger than the vehicle. And so this is the first concept of a simple design, and if you want to, let's see if this works. Click the button there, Hayden, and it'll kind of show the second design, which is a heron image. So just give you an idea of the two concepts we're looking at. And they're going to be about 15 feet tall. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. I think this does it. I'll hold off on the comparison on the next slide. So remaining steps. We want to obtain final design direction tonight, hopefully. Once we get that, we're going to come back and with a final design that's going to be signed and sealed by our design consultant. And TxDOT's going to require us to have a resolution where council has approved this design, as far as a maintenance agreement as well. And then once we get that in place, we'll get the agreement approved by TxDOT, and we hope to bid it in late 2024 with construction early 2025. There is the presidential debate that's coming in September. We'll try to accelerate the schedule. I'm not sure we can get there, but if we get that clear direction tonight, we certainly can make that our goal to accelerate it. It'll be tight, but it just depends on what we decide tonight. Next slide. And so this is the comparison of the two designs that were presented. Is on the left we have the solid background, on the right we have the heron background, and so we're just looking for council direction. Do you want us to go with concept A or concept B? And that's the end of my presentation.
So we're ready to discuss,
You're ready.
proceed with concept A or B.
And I have Charlotte here for any technical design questions, but
Well, you know
As
my
needed.
first question.
okay.
That's really our only two choices.
Well, in April, I believe we were asked to come back with just two concepts.
That's what I was afraid of. Council? I can start, but I'm happy to let someone else go first.
I'll go first.
Go ahead, Mr. Mendoza.
So I said it before here, and I've got some bias because I do live in Rio Vista. And, driving through I-35, you see all these great signs, and they all kind of have the same basic idea. Here's the name of the city, wham, bam, nothing really stands out that says, well, that's beauty, or gives you a reason to actually go and drive into the city. I mean, this, even if you don't know what a blue heron is, it kind of gives you an idea of, okay, this is a wildlife area. This is somebody who cares about the environment. This is a city who's focusing on environment. I just like the blue heron. It's a representative of my neighborhood. Anybody that walks down Rio Vista in the park at 6 or 7 in the morning, or late at night, you just see these beautiful birds throughout our area. So that's kind of why I'm really in favor of B.
So you like the heron version?
Yes, ma'am.
Others?
I'll make mine quickly. I like A.
I need you to turn your microphone on.
Thank you, Mayor. I like option A.
Anyone else? Ms. Garza?
I like B. This bird is like one of the first things I remember from my first trip to San Marcos as a high school student visiting from Laredo. We would come up for MESCOM week every year since like freshman year of of high school. So yeah, it stands out. So I'm with B. I think they're both nice, so.
You said you started out with A and then
My
you said
bad.
B.
It's because A is for Alyssa, I guess.
Okay,
Yeah, the bird. Sorry.
got it. For,
I'm recovering from being ill.
okay. Mr. Gleason, you want me to go next? The bird is beautiful, and I think for entry into some of our neighborhoods, that would be great. It is not our city bird. It's not anything that's on other logos. And I think when people are driving by, what they need to see is San Marcos. I don't think the bird I think it's a distraction for this particular thing, as beautiful as it is. And if it's relevant to your neighborhood, I could see if we put any kind of gateway signs on your neighborhood, that'd be a great place for it. I don't think it applies to our whole town. And so I'm a A.
I'm an A also, and I drive by a lot of these and become much more aware of them than I ever thought I would be. I like the cleanness of A. You know, the first thing I would do if I saw the heron is, oh, is that their school mascot, or was it
Exactly.
representative of? And, because I've done that with a few communities, I'm like, why do they have that on there, right? And it's just because of, well, somebody, well, they're good. So I'm with A, I think it's clean, I think we do have some representation of the hill country with the limestone, the river's on the edge of town, you got a little bit of change of color in the backlit lighting, I'm with A.
Yeah, the only other thing I don't like is the San Marcos sign hanging off to the left. That's why I asked, do we only have two? Because that looks to me like we ordered it in pieces, and oh my gosh, the San Marcos sign was too big. It didn't fit, and we put it on there anyway. That's my only problem is that not lining up. I can deal with that, but I don't think it speaks well for us, because it looks like to me, it looks like it's a mistake. So that's my 2 cents on the,
And I actually kind of like it, because I think having that color all the way to the ground kind of draws some attention to the
no,
limestone.
it's the San Marcos sign hanging off to the left.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but some of them, a lot of them kind of have the lighting kind of offset and stuff. When you compare a lot of the cities,
No,
they're not.
that's still not what I'm talking about.
No, I know, you said the San Marcos is off to the left of the sign itself.
Well, yeah, it's hanging off to the
Yeah,
left
a lot
side.
of the cities kind of have that a little bit, because either they don't have room, or they're trying to identify something else, a feature or function on their sign, so I'm not as worried about it kind of hanging off to the left. I think it'll be okay.
The ones I've seen lately they're cleaner, which is the other reason for
Yeah.
not the bird.
I actually did have a question about the backlight, if I can.
Uh-huh.
Is this gonna be an LED that can go through all the spectrums, of color?
TxDOT does not allow that, so it'll just be white light, but it should reflect the blue material, but no movements, no animations. That's not allowed by TxDOT.
Well, the question probably is coming up though, because Kyle's allowed to change
Oh,
the
yeah.
colors of
That
their
was my
slide to
question.
Yeah, they
green
changed
and
theirs
red
to different
during
colors.
Because I would love to
seasons.
see a purple for the Friday night games, or a Saturday for the Texas State games, to
Right.
really show some representation.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
show some love.
I was reflecting the movement of the sign. You're saying they turn it on, the
Yes, yeah,
static
just whatever
light?
color will
Yes.
be in the background, is it?
Sure.
The
We-
lights
we
on the
can-
Kyle one change.
Yeah.
Yeah, then we can definitely make that request. It's gotta be static.
Understood, yes, sir.
I don't know how maroon backlight on that's
Oh,
going to look.
I'm just saying to have an option of whether it's, holiday colors or just whatever it is, to be able to have that.
I kind of like the change of colors. It's when I drive by them enough, I'm like, hey, holidays or ball game or something. Like, I can see that. I'd be open to it. I don't know how exactly it would look, on this particular one, but
I don't see it being a problem having that as an option, because that could always be, it's just
Not
changing.
used.
Yeah, that's an easy
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
to deal with.
I guess, Mayor,
I'm
I'm
open
Then
just
to it.
somebody's got to be responsible for remembering to change it, deciding what color's going to be when, and kind of like the downtown.
maroon on Saturdays and
perimeter.
purple on Fridays.
I just see this as a sign for advertisement. and
What
that
did
just
you
gives them-
say? Friday's purple, Saturday's
Friday's
maroon?
purple
for
and
just-
Saturday's maroon.
That's
Well, there would
exact-
be a pattern, possibly. Okay, I think our rules say that we have to have 4 to make a decision, and we have 3 with the bird and 2 without, since we have 2 people not here. So I don't think we can make a decision tonight.
Agenda items tonight then.
It's direction to staff on this end. On ones
Yeah.
requiring an actual
It's
vote,
3 to 2.
we will need 4 votes,
Mm-hmm.
the normal. But direction,
We can go with majority.
I would rather wait for input from 2 other people.
it's the prerogative of the council. If you want to get your full input, it's certainly your prerogative.
I will add that we will be coming back for the agreement to approve TxDOT with the design. Of course, if you change direction between now and then, that'll impact that design. So we wouldn't want to move forward unless with that design, but you will have a second shot, I should say, to see this for final direction.
So there could be options when that happens, and depending on what we do, that's the design that goes into TxDOT? This is to send it to them, or is this to
This is for us
respond to something from
This is,
them?
yes, this is for us to tell our design engineer to go ahead and sign and seal it,
Mm-hmm.
finalize the concepts, get the guardrail design done, all that stuff. So there, like I said, there will be, you will still see it one more time before it gets installed and before we get that agreement with TxDOT.
The other thing, what about, we were also working on timing to try to get stuff done as quickly as possible to the September timeframe for the election that's gonna be,
That's
or
not
the
important to
debate.
me. It's probably not gonna get done in time anyway.
So that's what we were, that was another time.
Just given the nature of things, with all best plans, I doubt it would happen. I have no idea how the other two would go, but I'd like to stay with our rules that say we need to have 4 to do something. So, Mr. Gary, how can we dispose of this?
It's a direction. I think y'all sort of, granted, you haven't done it with 4 votes, but it sounds like all of you are, at least 4 of you are in agreement to just have this come back at, I guess, at the next meeting so that the other colleagues can weigh in on this.
Well, Mr. Gonzalez said he agreed. Did anybody else? I didn't hear it from others to weigh. The question is, it's not up for action. I don't like this direction stuff. I think things ought to be on the agenda, posted for a vote, just cause. And I should have said something on this one. But what I'm looking for is, can I do a motion to postpone, given the agenda posting the way this is?
You could do that. It could be a motion or consensus, but I'm fine with the motion. But again, since it's a formal motion, then that would need 4 votes.
All right, then I'm going to make a motion to postpone until our next meeting.
And I just
And
want,
Mr. Gonzalez is seconding it. Yes, Mr. Condor?
I just wanted to clarify, when we come back, the intention is not to pick a design, it's just to sign off on the final design. So when we come back for the TxDOT agreement, we're not going to be presenting 2 separate options again. We're going to present the option that we were given direction to proceed with.
Which will be done at our next meeting if this
Correct.
motion to postpone
Yes.
happens.
Just want to clarify what that second the agreement was about.
Okay. Ms. Trevino, let's see who wants to postpone.
Okay, Mr. Scott, Ms. Garza,
No, I think this is dragged on for too long. I don't care. I will change it to the other one if that's fine. Like, let's just, we spent like an hour or so talking about this last time, so I'm a no.
okay, thank you. Mayor Houston,
I'm a yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Gleason,
If I heard Ms. Garza correctly, she said she was potentially gonna change it, then I'm no vote
That
no.
won't fix it.
That would take it to 4.
Wait,
Yes, it
no.
would.
Yeah, it'll take it to 4.
Would take it to 4, Mayor. So I'm gonna vote no to postpone.
Wait a minute. We've got 2 people who like A.
And 3 that wanted B, I thought.
Well, that would make it 3-2 the other way.
Oh, it was 3, I thought it was 3A, 2B. Am I correct?
Mr. Gonzalez was A.
He's A.
A.
Yeah, so we had 3A, and that take us forward at 4, yes.
Oh, I've got it written down wrong.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay.
We still have to have the formal vote at this point on postponement, but I'm a no on the postponement.
Mr. Mendoza?
Given that option, I'm going to say no on the postponement.
okay, and Mr. Prather is absent, so the motion fails, 3 with nays and 2 yays and 2 absent.
Okay, so the motion to postpone has failed, so we're back where we were.
Yes, I'm fine with, I honestly do not care. I think they're both lovely. I think for the sake of time, we've been talking about this for a long time. Let's just go with it. I don't care.
Mr. Gonzalez, what was you wanted the Heron, correct?
No, I wanted option A.
Then we're good. I had you down for the bird. Okay, we're good.
But we will find a way to integrate that beautiful bird, Matthew, you and I.
I think we need to use it as beautiful. I think there's other places where it would be more appropriate. Okay, have we concluded that one? I don't know, it's so dark in here, I'm having trouble reading. Okay, on the consent agenda, the following ordinances, resolutions, and other items numbered 1 through 8 may be acted upon by one motion. Is there anything anybody wants to pull? Okay, I will accept a motion.
Motion to approve consent agenda?
Second.
None. Motion by Mr. Mendoza, seconded by Mr. Gleason to approve the consent agenda as is. And I said 1 through 8, and that should have been 2 through 8. Mr. Trevino, let's vote on that one.
Ms. Garza?
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Houston?
Aye.
Mr. Gonzalez? Mr. Gleason?
Aye.
Mr. Mendoza?
Aye.
Mr. Prather and Mr. Scott. The motion passes 4-0 with 2 absent.
And that brings us to item 9.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. It was 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Mendoza. Appreciate it.
I'm sorry, I was already on to item
Me
9.
too.
Thank you for watching for that.
Appreciate it. Receive a staff presentation, hold a public hearing to receive comments for or against ordinance 2024-01, amending the official zoning map of the city in case number ZZ-23-24 by rezoning approximately 18.84 acres of land out of the John H. Earby survey, generally located 3,300 feet east of IH 35 near Center Point Road, from Character Districts -5 to light industrial, or subject to consent of the owner, another less than 10 zoning district classification, including procedural provisions, and provide an effective date, and consider approval of ordinance 2024-01 on the first of 2 readings.
Presentation, Ms. Hernandez, good to see you again.
Good evening, Happy New Year, Mayor and Council. Amanda Hernandez, Director of Planning and Development Services. The subject property is approximately 19 acres and is near the center of what was previously called the Gas Lamp Development, and we are just off of Center Point in the area of Old Bastrop Highway. Next slide. The property is currently vacant and is surrounded by vacant properties. In September of 2022, City Council zoned this property from Smart Code to Character District 5. At the time, the applicant indicated they wished to develop a commercial center. Next slide. The applicant is now requesting a zoning change to light industrial in order to allow industrial uses. The subject property is surrounded by light industrial on 3 sides, and on that 4th side is Smart Code, but I wanted to let you all know that that is a Smart Code special district that is specifically designated for industrial uses. So it is industrial uses on all 4 sides. Next slide. On the 2013 comprehensive plan, this area is a medium intensity zone. Next slide. And the proposed light industrial zoning is not preferred, but a preferred scenario amendment is not required. Next slide. The proposed district will allow manufacturing and light industrial, which is permitted in the surrounding zoning districts, as I had mentioned. Next slide. The property is not within an environmentally sensitive area. Next slide. And the future development must meet all development code regulations, including the construction of roadways and sidewalks. Next slide. The city will provide water and wastewater, and Blue Bonnet is the electric service provider. Next slide. The Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously recommended approval of this request. Staff recommends approval, and that concludes my presentation.
We will now start our public hearing. Is there anyone in chambers wishing to speak for, against, or about this item? If not, is Ms. Capoletta online with us? Yes. Okay.
Hi, y'all. Good evening. My name is Professor Lisa Marie Capoletta. They call me LMC. I live at 1322 Belvin. I think while you guys are looking at flags, you should look at these sort of trip and fall hazards that are occurring downtown, in the heart of downtown. And I'm wondering how that bird is going to fit on your little art project there with a big armpit that you want to put in the middle of San Marcos. I've been telling people, when you hear these light industrial proposals, you think stinky, hairy, hippie armpit. because that's exactly what people think when they think about light industrial. And I'm not hearing any discussion on the impact of property taxes or environmental impacts such as noise, smells, light, dirty electricity, vibrations, and cancer-causing particulates. And it's very troubling to me that there's no discussion on the impact of human health, as well as the river in terms of runoff, as well as just the air particulate quality. Anybody who drives down Hunter Road can see it's disgusting, the amount of dust that's being kicked up by those cement plants. And there's no conversation in the city planner's presentation about the impact of property taxes. Are these signs for the debate that you guys are focusing on? I mean, it's almost like the speech that I gave during citizen comments is aligned with that whole conversation that you had at the top of this meeting about this little gateway thing. I mean, you're more concerned about the flags and the logo than you are important things that impact our community. Who are those signs for? They're not for this community. And I'm noting that city staff are pressuring you guys to move on versus doing what the mayor is asking you to do, which is to wait for your colleagues and have a full, robust conversation. And I appreciate Jane doing that. What are the cost of these designs? There's no conversation. And that's troubling because when you guys are on the campaign, and I may file against one of y'all, and when I'm on the campaign trail, I'm going to say, you know what? They never asked city staff to include in the presentation what the cost it is to the consultant, what it costs for them, right, for us to pay for them to make up this little art project, and how much these things are going to cost, and what it's going to do in terms of the economy for this community. And this is another example of you guys more concerned about Le Creuset versus the bilge pump. And there wasn't a dang tootin' one of you that had that conversation. I think it's a big waste of city's time. We could have a legion of neighborhood captains right now with radios to communicate with first responders in the event of some sort of natural disaster or otherwise. And city management are refusing my free consulting. You guys paid out the yin-yang for that master plan, and it's a piece of crap. And you've got someone who's a ham radio operator. In literally 1 week, I could have this entire community armed with radios. And they could communicate to the police and the fire in case there's a problem with the flood. And you guys refuse to do it. But go ahead and pass your stinky hippie armpit. Thank you for your time, and God bless San Marcos.
Asking again if there's anyone in chambers who wishes to speak for, against, or about this item. If you do, state your name and your address, please.
Clayton Strolley, 8701 North Mopac Expressway, Suite 320, Austin, Texas. I'm just here in favor of it as I'm an applicant, so I'm just here to answer questions if you guys have any.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I will turn it off.
As I've told applicants before, if you're not for it, why should I be? All right. Council, questions? Yeah, I did. I think I did. Oh, I'm sorry. All right. I need to close the public hearing, and I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Mr. Gleason.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Mendoza. Questions, thoughts?
I have a question. One of the questions I have is, what is the impact on taxes if this thing gets built? And the other question is going to be, how is it going to affect the area around it with floods and everything else?
Sure, so impact on taxes, I wouldn't be able to give you a number on that, but generally, commercial and industrial pay more into our tax base than would single family, for example.
Whatever's adjacent to that, how would they get impacted, negative or positive way?
Sure, so that was your second part of your question, right? The impact, and this is actually right in the center. Hayden, if you wanted to back up to that zoning map, which is the second or third slide in the presentation, it's actually surrounded by light industrial that's already existing. The brown on the map is light industrial proper, and the purple is Smart Code Special District, which is written in a way that allows industrial, really only industrial uses. There is some single family in the area, but again, this particular property is kind of in the center of an area that's already zoned light industrial.
That's what the brown U around it is.
Okay. Yeah. For now, that's all I have. Thank you.
So that was probably going to be a residential island in the middle of a bunch of light industrial?
It was supposed to be originally in the plan we discussed with them a
Right.
couple years ago, commercial.
Yeah. Questions? Questions, anyone else? Mr. Vino, will vote?
Mayor Houston,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Gleason,
Aye.
Mr. Mendoza,
Aye.
Mr. Prather, Mr. Scott, and Ms. Garza.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes 5-0 with 2 absent.
On to item 10.
Okay, consider approval of ordinance 2024-02 on the first of 2 readings, amending the city's 2023-2024 fiscal year budget to carry forward funds from the 2022-2023 fiscal year to adjust revenue and expenditure accounts in multiple operating, special revenue, internal service, and capital improvement project funds, including procedural provisions, and provide an effective date.
Motion to approve?
Presentation.
Oh, is it? Oh, I'm so sorry.
I know, you're trying to fix what I missed earlier, and I appreciate that, but we're going to hear what Mr.
Mayor,
Locke has to say.
I'm sorry, Mayor, there's no public hearing. I know on our worksheet it's under public
Oh,
hearing, but it's not.
it's not?
It's not, yeah.
Never
non-consent.
mind.
Sorry.
In that case, Mr. Mendoza, I will take your motion, and I will ask for somebody to raise that to a second.
Say it again.
Oh, motion to approve?
Yeah.
Second.
So do we have a presentation? Are you here to answer questions, Mr. Locke? We do this every year. I thought what was in the in the packet was clear and with all the gory details, so yeah, I'm ready to vote. Anyone else? Questions? None? All right, Mr. Vino, we'll roll on.
Okay, Mr. Gonzalez.
Aye.
Mr. Gleason.
Aye.
Mr. Mendoza.
Aye.
Mr. Prather, Mr. Scott, Ms. Garza,
Sure.
and Mayor Houston.
I'm an aye.
Motion passes 5-0 with 2 absent.
All right, then we will continue on with item 11.
Consider approval of ordinance 2024-03 on the first of 2 readings, amending Chapter 82 of the San Marcos City Code to, among other things, define the authority of the city's parking advisory board, update the list parking violations and associated fines, and align for the creation of parking benefits districts, providing savings clause, providing for the repeal of any conflicting provisions, and provide an effective date.
Okay, looking for a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Gleason, and I will second it. And is this a presentation, or we rolling on with what was in the packet and seeing if there's questions?
Hi, Mayor and council members. My name is Charles Campbell. I'm the Multimodal Parking Initiatives Manager, here to answer any questions you may have. We also have our Chair of the Parking Advisory Board, also in case you had any additional questions.
Glad she's here. And there wasn't anything on the message board that changes this, is there? I don't think. Okay, so I'm going to make some explanations, though, as to what was struck out in the packet that isn't out there yet. Anybody have any questions about how this changes were presented? Well, what happened is there were some things that we were going to do at the Parking Advisory Board. So we had what the committee worked on. That is what was given to us. And so the changes that are out there, some of them were changes that we made. So there's a section out there that's noted to be struck, but it's not going to be struck in the code because it wasn't there to begin with. So maybe we can get that tidied up before second readings for everybody. So we'll have a good one. And the other one was the $100, and I forget the other one, but I think it was all the same. It doesn't affect our vote. So this was discussed at, I couldn't even begin to tell you how many Parking Advisory Board meetings. It's one of those kind of discussed and discussed again and amended, and I think the end result is good, and I'm ready to vote for it. Anyone, other questions? Mr. Vino, we'll vote.
Mr. Gleason.
Aye.
Mr. Mendoza.
Aye.
Mr. Prather, Mr. Scott, Ms. Garza.
No.
No, okay. Mayor Houston
Aye.
and Mr. Gonzalez.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes 4-1 with 2 absent.
Okay, on to item 12. Ms. Trevino.
Consider approval of ordinance 2024-04, amending section 2.566 of the San Marcos City Code concerning the city manager's spending authority to remove obsolete provisions related to the COVID-19 pandemic and to clarify the types of agreements to which the city manager's authority extends, including procedural provisions, and provide an effective date.
Looking for a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Thank you. Motion made by Mr. Mendoza, seconded by Mr. Gleason. Are there any questions on this? Questions, concerns, thoughts? If not, we'll roll on to a vote.
Okay, Mr. Mendoza. Mr. Prather, Mr. Scott, Ms. Garza,
Yeah.
Mayor Houston,
Aye.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Aye.
Mr. Gleason. Okay, motion passes 5-0 with 2 absent.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have something for the second reading, but we're good now. Okay, we are now to item 13. Ms. Trevino.
Receive an update from staff and comprehensive plan ad hoc council committee, including the committee's recommendations for additional public outreach on Vision SMTX++, with council amendments, hold a discussion regarding such recommendations and any matters concerning the plan, and consider a motion to set a new public hearing date for approval of the comprehensive plan on second reading. That would be after the committee's final recommendation regarding the plan. Sorry, did I finish reading it? It was cut off.
Oops.
I think that was it.
Yep.
Are we good?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Looking for a motion to get this on the floor.
Motion to approve for discussion, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Mendoza, I'll second it. And so, Ms. Hernandez, do you have presentation, explanation, stuff for us?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. I know there's a lot of detail in the packet, and there's some good stuff there, so thank you.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. Amanda Hernandez, Director of Planning and Development Services. This first slide you've seen multiple times describing the role of a comprehensive plan, so we're going to skip this, and the next is also a timeline that you've seen multiple times. So go ahead and skip one more. On November 6th of 2023, the comprehensive plan was on the City Council agenda for adoption on second reading of the ordinance. Council postponed action, indicating a desire for more outreach on the plan, and a council committee was appointed, which consists of Mayor Houston, council members Garza and Scott. At the committee's first and internal meeting, we discussed methods for additional outreach, and staff was asked to prepare an outreach campaign. At the second meeting, the committee discussed the campaign, provided additional guidance, and directed staff to bring the campaign forward for the blessing of the full council, which is why we're here this evening. On December 19th, we discussed today's postponement, and in addition to the postponement, I'm going to present some details on the outreach campaign, and we'll seek your direction on that. Next slide. As far as overall process for the comprehensive plan, we are here, and there is a lot of detail in your packet about how we got here with dates. So I'm going to skip ahead, but these are in the presentation if we need to go back to them. Next slide. So what's being presented today is what was presented to the City Council Committee on the Comprehensive Plan with some minor changes that I'll note as I'm giving the presentation. I do want to take a moment and give a shout out to our communications department. They have been instrumental in helping us put together this draft outreach campaign, and we're really looking forward to working with them and their continued support as we try to reach everyone in our community once again to talk about the comprehensive plan. Next slide. In order to reach everyone in the community, we realize that we have to provide multiple ways for people to participate in this survey. So for those who prefer paper copies, like to hold on to their documents and write notes, we are planning to have a hard copy and gather written responses from anyone who'd like to participate in that way. And then staff will take those written comments and put them into the master spreadsheet that will be shared with the council at a later date. There's a middle of the road option, which is an online survey where the reader can reference the summary of changes table, which is in your packet, and enter their responses into a survey, which is really just a form where they can enter all of their comments. And then finally, we're going to solicit input using the Conveo program, which is a program we've been using for multiple plans and documents to gather input, where the commenter opens the PDF document and leaves their comment directly on that PDF, right where they are on the topic that they want to talk about. Conveo does allow the participants to give each other thumbs up or thumbs down if they agree or don't agree with what someone else is saying, which we think we can use as quantifiable data for kind of determining which comments float to the top or float down. And there's also an option for interactive commenting. So if I leave a comment that says, "This change is great," Andrea can log in, give it a thumbs down, and say, "I don't like this comment because," and provide their response, and we can have some back and forth. The interactive commenting was discussed by the council committee, and they recommended it be included, but this is a feature that the staff can turn on and off. So if council does not wish for this type of interaction, we'll just need that direction tonight, so that way we can make that change on the program. Next slide. The council committee indicated the desire to focus on the changes which were made over the last year. So those changes that happened between the original Vision SMTX document, which came out about this time last year, and the current draft Vision SMTX ++ with council amendments. In the survey, we'll ask respondents to be specific about their comments. What is it that they like or don't like about a change that was made? That way we know exactly what people are concerned with, why, and we'll ask them to provide alternate language if they have some. The survey will also have some less specific questions, like which plan they prefer overall, and if there are comments on the process. And those survey questions were provided in your packet. Next slide. This slide shows a snip of the summary of changes table, which will be used by the survey respondents and will be uploaded into Conveo. Right at the top, there's a link where participants can go to our Vision SMTX website to view the various versions of the plan. So they have the opportunity to go online and download either of the documents that we're referring to. This table is sorted by page number of the original document. It includes the original plan text in that second column, and then includes a red line version of the text from Vision SMTX ++ in that fourth column.
Ms. Hernandez? I
Yes.
just want to point out to the public, you've got a copy is included in the council packet.
Yes.
The council packet is what the public sees, so it's in the packet.
Yes.
Okay. I just want the public to know that.
Yes. Okay, and then there is a source and date column where we included the date that a change was acted upon by Planning and Zoning Commission or City Council, and where that change originated. So was it the P&Z subcommittee? Was it something that came from the public? Was it Planning Commission at a meeting? That's all included in there, just to give some context to where the changes came from. The final column, which says comment here, will be used by the hard copy respondents as well as Conveo respondents, and it gives them a location to write or leave their comments with regards to any of the line items. The online survey respondents will have a text box in the survey form where they can leave their comments in that way. For the committee members, I did want to point out that we made some minor modifications to this table since you saw it in December. We made some formatting changes, like adding various page numbers that were missing and ordering by page number of the original plan. And we also added some clarifying language, like place type headers where it was appropriate to add those, and wanted to thank Mayor Houston for the assistance in making this table more user-friendly. Next
Y'all,
slide.
that was a great job.
Thank you. On the next slide, we have high-level summary of platforms that we will use to reach our community. And again, this is very high level. We have a memo in the packet that gets into the details of how we will use each of these, but we're looking at online, physical flyers, emails, newsletters, press releases, utility bill inserts, and engaging with our community partners. So again, we are trying to reach everybody, and if we don't reach everybody, we want to reach one of their friends that will tell them that this is going on. Next slide. And my update that I made this morning isn't on this slide. So this is a proposed timeline for outreach, which was ultimately driven by the timing of the utility bill inserts. Utility bill inserts go out 4 times a month, so we had to work our schedule around making sure that someone has the bill in their hand or gets the bill in their hand before the survey opens or closes. We are making one change to this, which I apologize isn't on the slide, but we are not going to Parks Board this week. We're going to go to Parks Board in February. And what that will do is actually give us an opportunity to be in front of the community towards the end of the process versus how we have it on this schedule, which is front-loading all of the boards and commissions before the survey even launches. There we go. Thank you, Hayden. But yes, we'll have another opportunity to get out in front of the community and make sure that, you know, we're having touch points with people throughout this process, because we don't want them to forget it's happening, or if they do forget, that we're out there to remind them to go ahead and take this survey. We are going to be emailing our boards and commissions, so Parks Board, even though they won't have their update at the meeting until February, they will know that this is coming. So we want to make sure everybody knows we're coming to see them. Once the survey closes, staff will compile the raw data from all outreach methods and schedule a council committee meeting. We'll discuss the results, and when the council committee comes to a resolution on what they would like to recommend to the full council, we will schedule that city council meeting. So that's why we have a couple of TBDs down there at the bottom. We just don't know right now what those dates might be. Next slide. At this time, we're seeking direction on the outreach campaign as detailed in your packet with the change to the timeline that I just discussed. And we're also looking for action on a new date for adoption of the plan. So we have some of those TBD dates that I mentioned previously, and I know we have a motion on the table right now for approval, but I think what we will be looking for is a motion to postpone until after the committee has formulated a recommendation and staff has had time to post notice of a public hearing. And we think that that would be an acceptable motion for postponement, so we can take care of all of these steps and make sure we have that additional public hearing when we bring the second reading back of the ordinance.
Did you say that last part again about how we're going to reach a new date or a triggering factor?
Yes, motion to postpone until after the committee has formulated a recommendation and staff has time to post notice of a public hearing. Something along those lines.
Okay.
And that will conclude my presentation.
All right, thank you very much. There's something that I want to start out with on this where, you know, we've gotten a lot of comments on this. And I want to respond to the few that we've had that said this is just for protecting rich neighborhoods when we talk about neighborhood protection. And I just want to say, we're looking at protecting all neighborhoods, but honestly, the higher dollar neighborhoods aren't going to need such protection because they're built out. There's not a lot of vacant lots, or they're already planned for. There's HOAs. What I'm looking for is protecting neighborhoods that don't have those options for Sunset Acres and Blanco Gardens and those that, especially people who live near the university, which is often in danger of some sort of change that the neighborhood doesn't want. So that's what I'm looking for when I say protecting neighborhoods. And I don't know if those people are watching or if they'll hear this response, but I just want to get that on the record, that we're looking to protect all neighborhoods. Council, just so that you know, I've got one amendment to the actual table. Staff had, and I'm not sure I have the right number, was 16 correct? Whatever number it is. Staff had one item, and they addressed splitting the neighborhood low place types into low existing and low new. However, I thought that since that is such a big part of what the changes are and what we were looking at originally, that we should have the details. And again, that's so that we can have people comment specifically on certain things. That was one of the things we talked about at the committee, is instead of people saying generally, oh, this plan is terrible, it's going to be the ruin of San Marcos, whatever people have to say, go through the plan and tell us exactly which item are you unhappy with. And if you could tell us why, because we've already made some changes based on input from the community. And so communication is always good. So I have, and this is this long sheet that you have in front of you, is the one at the top that says 16, that's what's in the plan. And what I have done is I have prepared more items. The blue was just for me to keep up with, because the blue is the split to neighborhood existing, and then the green was to do neighborhood low new. I'm not suggesting these colors remain in here. That was just to help me get through this, and maybe you. So these, I'm not proposing anything new. My proposal is to add what is already in the plan that's been brought to us by P and Z from the original to what the plan was in front of us, so that our neighbors who are watching to comment on this, they can see those side by side. So I'm not changing anything here from what we have already done. I just would like this more detailed to be in what people are gonna be commenting on.
If it's
So-
easier for the public to read it, sure.
Well, otherwise, they'd have to have both of them,
Sure.
and if they had both of them side by side, they'd be doing what I was doing, which is, when I went through and re-redlined, they'd have to figure it, it's not, and I've seen this thing, you know, been through it 20 times. So my motion is to insert these items
And Mayor,
and,
just-
yes, ma'am.
Just for
Yes, sir.
clarification, the way the posting is, and I
Mm-hmm.
apologize if there's any misunderstanding, I think the actual motion for tonight would be on setting a hearing date. The way it's posted, I thought that what would happen is direction would be given to include those items when they come back with the second reading. In other words, it's not posted to actually make amendments to the
This-
plan. You can give direction tonight for you want staff to come back with or to
This is
include.
what I asked for at agenda setting, was to be able to change that summary table. And I thought the posting was set to do that.
Right, we were supposed to be able to get the feedback from the rest of council on this, right?
Uh-huh.
I think.
Well, mostly on the outreach plan, but I'll just say that when we went to the meeting and staff presented the outreach plan, I'll just tell y'all, I was blown away. They had everything there. It was great. They had already done a lot of work. Of course, they've done great work in outreach before. It's not like this is their first time. So the outreach plan itself, I was going to talk about next if we want to, but I think that part is great. And yes, I know that we do need to set that date or set the triggering factors, but I had concerns about what was in here. I thought there was one change that was going to address my concerns that I had turned in, but this one did not get addressed.
So-
And I think this one is really, really important that this be out there for the public to be able to comment on this specifically and to be able to see exactly what we did and they not have to go through and try to figure it out.
Mayor, Joe Panteon, Assistant City Manager. The change that you're recommending is a change to the summary table, which is a staff product.
Yes.
And not a reflection of an actual change to the comp plan, correct?
This is to reflect what what P and Z has brought to us and what the original plan was and what the difference is. I'm not proposing any changes at this point in time.
It's
So-
part of the outreach campaign.
Right.
Yes, it is.
And
Yeah,
so.
that's a clarification I want to make. It's
So
part
what
of
I
the
thought
outreach.
our understanding would be that you get that direction for staff to make those changes tonight. I'm just saying it wouldn't be a regular motion, it'd be just direction like we do in other matters involving staff items.
Okay.
And then the staff would come back to make those changes.
Are y'all okay if we enhance the summary table by including some information that wasn't there before, but it's no new proposed changes to the plan?
And we're
Well,
not
and-
removing things, right? We're
And
just
even when I
adding.
look at this, though, on the posting, hold a discussion regarding such recommendations and any matters concerning the plan.
Yeah.
That's pretty vague to me, that I thought it might be kind of open for discussion, even
Yeah.
if we're not taking
I'm
formal.
okay with just doing this as direction, since I'm not proposing any changes to the
Okay.
plan,
And that was
if
the
y'all
only-
are good with it.
Yes, that was the intention of the posting.
Are y'all good with it?
Mayor, could I clarify, it's item 38 now that we
Thank
did that
you.
reorganization, it got moved down on the table, so it would be adding some clarifying
Yeah.
points to item 38, probably in the form of 38A, B, C, D, instead of adding additional numbers to the table.
And actually, I did these rows, kind of to make it fit on the page, but I think it could be as simple as 38, the one that you have, and then A is low existing, and B is low new. And I think that would give people, that way they could say what they wanted without having to go and pick and choose all of that. I'm fine with that, if
Okay.
you're good with that, the A and B. Everybody good with that? Okay, so I can put this aside. And I wanted to talk about that conveyo option. We did discuss that at the committee meeting, particularly, and I'm glad you're doing the online. I think that's great, because that's the way some people are gonna work. So I'm not complaining about the online option. And I think being able to go through and click like and dislike. But council, we're going to get a list of all of the changes that people are suggesting. We'll get some kind of identifier, whatever they choose to use, and then which item, and then what their comments are. And so I think if somebody goes through and does a like, that's easy enough to do that. I'm not sure about the back and forth part. I have real reservations, and I know Mr. Scott had reservations about it, and I didn't think that we had said we wanted to go there. Do you remember?
I honestly, I think you guys are being a little bit paranoid. I don't remember what we ended up on. I think, to answer your question, I don't remember where we ended up. I just think our neighbors are adults and they can behave themselves in an
Oh, I wasn't
online
worried about that
platform.
part of it.
And Mayor, we went back and watched the video just to
Yeah.
see what the consensus was
And
at
we
that
did
meeting, and
say
the
okay.
consensus was to leave all of the commenting and thumbs up and thumbs down on.
Commenting and thumbs up and thumbs down, yes, but not the back and forth part?
The commenting, the back and forth commenting.
Oh, that's not what I meant when we were
Well, and
closing that out.
I have reservations on that too, because someone might hold back on a comment knowing that it's gonna get called out and get poked at online, or what they're,
Yeah.
you know, they should be
Wow.
open and free to say what they want, not have to worry about a back and forth.
Yeah. Well, and if somebody wants to
Somebody-
comment that I disagree with you,
They can do it on their own comment.
I can do it on my
They
own
don't need to
comment.
attach
So
it
we're
to
not
someone else's.
keeping anybody from commenting.
Yeah.
We're just going to make sense.
Well, they can't
But I
comment on
will tell
somebody
you,
else's.
it's kind of like Facebook. I would be
Yeah,
hesitant to
yeah.
put something out
Yeah,
there knowing there's
absolutely.
going to be 57 people come in and
That's
start
right.
spearing it.
That's right.
So, yeah. Huh?
I wouldn't. I feel like we're adults. We should be able to engage in a dialogue, even if virtually.
It might
It's,
suppress engagement though.
It's, maybe perhaps it's like a generational preference, but I mean, even students in high school, students in college, they use these type of virtual methods to engage in dialogue, and generally speaking, people behave themselves, and the part about, oh, what if it dissuades them? I mean, people are adults, like, it sounds like they should talk to their therapist about that, like, that's like not for us to mitigate, if they're gonna be so shook and shaken that somebody replies to a comment online that they're not gonna
I should be able to post my own
participate.
personal comments without having to worry about somebody else coming up and debating me online about it.
You don't have to
Exactly.
reply.
Yeah, but then it looks like they've made their point and they're correct. Like, I don't like
And
that at all, being
that,
able back and
again,
forth from the public on
If it
that.
bothers them that much, maybe
But-
they should seek therapy.
But here's the deal. Like you say, different people comment differently, and I want to reach as many people as possible and get as much input as possible.
Okay, Mayor.
And I think that if there's folks that will hold back because they don't want the slings and arrows, that's not good. If somebody wants to comment on something, they can go out there and do their own. But I'm also concerned about how we're going to track this, how all of that back and forth on that one particular item is going to show up in the spreadsheet so that we can follow
And-
what it was that happened. So that's my other concern, is how are we going to be able to receive that information and make sense of it with all that?
Honestly, I like the interaction of the debate with the citizens being able to discuss it within themselves, because this is a pretty important thing, but I don't also want to receive a document that's 65 pages of just argument. But I don't want to deny
I
these
do.
individuals. Well, I like the chisme. I like
It's not
the.
chisme, it's dialogue, like, it's healthy, it's being an adult.
personally
Somebody,
like to see
somebody
these
may not
things.
wanna have dialogue. They may just wanna make their comment and walk away
Right.
from it. I
Well,
do not
it-
like this back and
I also
forth.
think it might be like a barrier to productive conversation. There's so many times that sometimes y'all say some stuff and I'm like, oh, I didn't even contemplate that, and clarifying questions help that.
It's still gonna be on there. They'll be able to see other people's comments, right? All those comments will be there, so they'll be able to go on their own,
And how would I
refine
ask
it,
a
add to it.
clarifying question?
Let's hold on just a second. How would I see what other people have already put out there?
It'll be a little comment box.
No, I'm talking about technically, just to how we would see it.
It's a little comment box, and you can click on the comment box, or you can open all comments, and you can see everything that anyone has commented. If you click on a comment, it'll take you to that page.
So if I'm on number 12, then I can go through and I can see all of that.
It would be over in that little comment here comment box.
And that's where people can do their like? Can they do a dislike? Makes sense.
I mean, that's enough feedback for me, then a back and forth.
Okay, well, we need to figure this one, we need to figure this one out, because we've got two different, we've got two going one way and two going the other. Mr. Gonzalez? No pressure. Of course, that's only three.
On this one, I never say this, but it doesn't matter to me. I just wait and see what, I go with majority of the council, whatever they want to do.
You're gonna determine that majority, sir, because we're 2 versus 2.
Oh, yeah. Is there an option 1 and option 2?
It's whether we were going to ask people to all comment on their own, or whether they're gonna let people do, debate and.
Comment on their own. I'm gonna go down.
Sad.
I have a feeling there'll be Facebook and Twitter and other places where people can get into
Right,
heavy
and then I'm gonna have to
conversations
spend more
on this.
time going and finding actual, true, authentic neighbor dialogue, which is what it seems to be the case every single time we have a conversation-worthy topic. It's like, what? Why are we trying to censor people?
We're not censoring anybody.
We're not
Look, this
censoring
is
anybody.
opening, this is opening the door to somebody can come in and make a comment and
And
not have to
cry
worry
about
about a
it
back
later.
and forth. They don't want a back and forth. They want to speak their piece.
They don't have to
state their
reply like
statement, move on.
adults, but whatever. Y'all want to treat our neighbors like children, that's fine with me.
I think there are some adults that
That's fine.
don't want that. I take exception with the adult and not part of this.
I took some Advil earlier and it's showing now. It's like,
Do what?
I took some Advil
Uh-huh.
and it makes me kind of drowsy.
And I've got one more thing too, Mayor.
Hold on, let's see. I'm not doing the next one. That one was direction. I have one more. And that is, again, there were multiple versions out there. In order for the summary table to make sense, you've got to have access to the original document and to what the new one is. You've got a link somewhere that links like to that maybe visionsmtx.com page, but where you've got in the survey, you've got linked to the summary of table of changes, which is really hard for some of that to make sense. Well, I would like to ask that we have a link, everywhere there's a link to the summary of changes, that there be a link to the original document and a link to the latest document, the two that are being compared. So if somebody says, I'm looking at this snippet, and I'm not saying it's wrong to just have the snippet, but I'd like to see what the rest is, it's right there, and they can click and pull up that document if they haven't already. Now, I would hope most people would have them both up before they got started in the table, but they may not. They may say, oh, I'm just gonna go to a few of them, and I think they need to be able to get to both full documents. Is that okay to just add that? Okay, so that's a yes. And so now we need to go, is there anything about the outreach?
Yes, I have something.
Yes.
So one of the things I want to recommend for, on any of these surveys that we're doing, is ask or confirm, are they a San Marcos resident? We may not have to ask for a name. I know there's probably going to want people that be anonymous, but I'd like to know whether they're weighing in on their own city or not. Or are we getting a bunch of outreach coming from outside the city limits? I don't know exactly how we do that on the 3 different, utility bills I'm not worried about, right? They're going direct mail. It's really just the online presence and the Survey Monkey of it going out and one organization getting a hold of it and flooding it full of input that's not from the community. Because if someone comes in here and speaks on our comp plan, I'm gonna weigh more someone who speaks from the community than I am from someone who's outside the community. And I'd like to see that in the survey too, someplace.
Can we just ask for that?
Yeah,
We
I mean,
can't
if you could.
verify it, but can we just ask, do you live in San Marcos?
We can ask the question, but I just want to offer a little bit of, I guess, additional information on that, is that this comprehensive plan isn't just confined to the city limits of the city of San Marcos.
Do you live within 5 miles of here, 10 miles? I don't care what it
You
is.
have a San Marcos address.
Yeah.
It's ETJ. Well, it's also business
those.
owners that may not live here, may want
Yeah,
to have a say in the future of the community. So we're actually reaching trying to reach the broadest audience we can. Can we add that question? Absolutely, if council wants us to add. Are you a,
And you
you
can
know,
own-
do you live in San Marcos?
Do you
Own
live-
property?
or
own
do
real
you
property?
work?
Do you work, own real property, those kind of
Right.
things? Just something to confirm
Yeah.
that they have a
I
stake
actually-
in the game in our community.
I actually would like to know which one of those, right? So, I mean, to your point, I understand there might be some outside folks, but I think it would be helpful to know, you know, if they're like, you live here, or, no, I don't live here, but like I have, you know, an economic interest, or, you know, I mean, I think all those perspectives are valuable,
Yeah.
but it would be interesting to see the breakdown of the
Yeah,
feedback.
I mean, if they work in, but they drive in every day to work here.
Right.
Maybe they live in Luling, but I want to hear what they have to say because they're here all the time.
Yeah, I'm definitely more comfortable with that question if we do live, own property, work,
Right, but
do
can they
business,
choose
shop. I
which
don't, you
one?
know, we can come up with a few
Right.
options to try to,
Yeah,
you know, some
Yeah.
people may just come here to shop and want to talk to us about transportation because they
Right.
go to the
Yeah.
outlet malls,
Yeah, no,
but
that's good.
Self-reported, no verification, but I think most people will be honest.
yes,
Yeah.
I see a lot of head nods, so we can make sure to add that question at the top and put something in Conveo.
Will that carry over if they do the maximum number of questions and they have to start a new
It would.
session,
They would
like on
ask
the
it.
Survey Monkey?
It would come up at the top of every 10 questions.
So they would have to key that in every time, that's what I was thinking. Okay, but for the Conveo, they're in one time, right? And then they don't have to, there's no
Correct.
limit of comments or anything?
Correct.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. So now we're to question 2. Anybody got anything? That was a good one, Mr. Gleason. Seeking new direction, and what we had talked about before was after the deadline, staff has time to pull it all together. The committee looks at it again. We might want to have a second meeting. And I'm not sure exactly what we're gonna be doing, kind of depends on what this stuff looks like. And then we have a report, which Ms. Hernandez will do. And then we're gonna have a public hearing, so we've got to get that in the newspaper, and then there's got to be some time. So when you add all that up, that is after, what was the deadline? What was the new deadline
New deadline.
for commenting?
It is.
I forget.
Hold on, let me get to that page.
February
It's the end of
23rd.
February.
All
Mhm.
right. Okay, so 2/23, and I'm not hearing anybody suggesting that changes tonight, so that's good. I'm gonna say at least 6 weeks.
I would be more comfortable with the way I had worded it in my presentation, just because if we say 6 weeks.
No, I'm not trying to do a
after-
date, I'm just trying to think in my
Okay,
head how
okay.
much time that's going to be. But we're gonna have to say after the deadline and what do you want to say, when the committee's ready to report?
After the committee has formulated a recommendation and staff has posted for a public hearing.
What she said.
And this item actually is the way it's posted as an actual motion.
Then I'll
to
make
set
the
date.
motion of what Ms. Hernandez is recommending. Y'all ready? To vote? Is there anything else we need to do?
No, ma'am, that was all that we needed. Appreciate your time tonight.
Okay. But just expectations. It's gonna be a while after the thing closes. Ms. Trevino, let's vote.
Mr. Prather, Mr. Scott,
Oh, wait a minute. Let me back up. Mr. Gary I did a motion in a second. That was for an amendment to add that one part about the date, and then we're gonna vote on it again as amended?
I don't think we need to.
Because I've already made a motion and that didn't have this information in it. I just wanna make sure we're complete and I don't leave anything hanging.
I think so, because the first item was really to just get this agenda item on for
Right.
discussion, which really wasn't essential for, because it was an update, and I think it's okay the way you've proceeded.
Okay, so this is my motion to amend, to add some specificity as to when it will come back. Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Trevino, go ahead.
all right, thank you. Mr. Scott, Ms. Garza. Mayor Houston,
Aye.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Aye.
Mr. Gleason.
Aye.
And Mr. Mendoza.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0, 2 absent.
Okay, and that was the motion to amend, and so now we will vote on the main motion as amended.
Okay, Mr. Scott, Ms. Garza?
Aye.
Mayor Houston?
Aye.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mr. Gleason?
Aye.
Mr. Mendoza?
Aye.
And Mr. Prather. Motion passes 5-0 with 2 absent.
Okay, and now thank you, Mr. Knight. Again, kudos to those who came up with the plan, all those involved. It was excellent, and now it's time to go forth and implement. Thank you all. We specified that that's when it's going to come back, is after all those things happen, without giving it a date certain. Okay, item 14, Ms. Trevino.
Okay, discuss and consider appointments or reappointments to positions 2 and 4 and confirm appointments of positions 7, 8, and 9, and appoint a chair of the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone, TERS number 4, Paseo Robles, now known as Kissing Tree Board of Directors, and provide direction to staff.
Okay, council, you've got it in your packet as to who's there already. I will save some time and say I am willing to serve again.
I'll volunteer again too, Mayor.
And I will also volunteer to be the chair if I'm reelected. So I'm looking to see, Ms. Reyes, we had a staff person before. Do we want to, I assume we want to continue that, and who do you want it to be?
Mr. Condor, Sean Condor, Director of Engineering and CIP.
And that would be for position 4, would be the easiest way to do that one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so. Others?
I volunteered, but,
No, I've got you down as
oh,
volunteering.
okay. All right. You were giving me a look like you didn't hear me.
No. Mm-mm. No, I was thinking I need to talk about the last 3 positions on here before we finish up. Okay, as this was created back whenever it was created, there's also a seat for the Precinct 3 Hays County Commissioner, and Commissioner Shell was appointed at the Commissioners Court meeting in December. There is one for, oops, got those wrong. Representative Erin Zwiener or her designee. And Mr. Aguirre, if we appoint, would we have, if Representative Zwiener wants to send a designee, would we have to appoint that person here, or can we appoint her and she can send a designee?
I think, and really, she can set her own designee because the representative is, by statute, automatically a member of the board. So, yeah, so.
So if we could appoint her, she could send someone, or do we need a name of her designee in order to make this appointment?
You can, I think you should accept her designee if she has one.
We don't have one yet.
Okay.
That's why I was, and in order to not leave that seat vacant, I thought we could at least appoint her tonight. And
Yeah,
then at some point in the future, if she has a designee that she would like to,
Yes,
then we can
because
just
That's
redo it.
right, she's automatically a member just by virtue of the statute, so that would be appropriate to
true.
just designate her if she does not have a designee at the moment.
Oh, since it says representative of that district, it's her regardless of what we say?
That's correct.
Okay. Ms. Trevino, is all that, I know you've been working hard on this, and thank you for all the phone calls and pulling all this together. Is that,
Yes, and right before the meeting started, she did call me. She did confirm Gabrielle Moore.
I'm sorry, I was thinking that was a different one. So she has a designee. And I'll go ahead and just put her name in.
Yes.
Okay. So for slot, position 8, and then for position 9, Donna Campbell's, she has named Monty Parker as her designee. So, unless anybody is excited about making a change or wanting to put their name in play, for position 1, it would be me, 2, Gleason, 4, Sean Condor, 7, Lon Shell, 8, Gabby Moore, and 9, Monty Parker. And I'll go ahead and say I'll volunteer to continue as chair. I think we meet once every 18 months or something, so. Okay, so Mr. Aguirre, is this a motion? I'm going to make a motion that all those folks that I just
Yes.
said be appointed.
Yes.
I'll second it.
Okay. Second by Mr. Gleason. Ms. Trevino?
Ms. Garza.
Aye.
Mayor Houston.
Aye.
Mr. Gonzalez.
Aye.
Mr. Gleason.
Aye.
Mr. Mendoza.
Aye.
Mr. Prather. Mr. Scott. The motion passes 5-0 with 2 absent.
Okay, and now a simpler one. Ms. Trevino?
Discuss and consider appointment and/or reappointments to position 1, 2, and 5, and confirm Hayes County appointments to position 3, 4, and appoint a chair to the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone, TERS number 5 downtown Board of Directors, and provide direction to staff.
Okay, I will volunteer to continue
I'll volunteer too, Mayor.
and to continue to be chair. So Mr. Gleason is in slot 2. Position 3 belongs to Hayes County, and they have asked that the judge, Ruben Becerra, be appointed. That is who they have appointed at their Commissioners Court meeting. And item 5, this is one that is mutually agreed upon. We alternate who chooses, and then the other entity can say, yes, I agree with that. I believe it's our turn to appoint, but I was going to name Kyle Malius, who has been on the board for a while and is a really good member, an active member of the board, being a downtown business owner, which is what this slot is. He provides really good feedback and information. So that's who the Commissioners Court has already named as their choice, and I wish to put that name into play for position 5. So, are there others who wish to serve? Anybody?
Out of curiosity, so the county judge that we have appointed, Judge Becerra, is it Becerra himself, or is it going to be a designee that he?
No, he wants to be on it. It's 2 city slots, 2 county slots, then the mutually agreed upon who has been in recent years a downtown business owner.
Okay.
So he was named as the person by the Commissioners Court. I will make the motion to, for those folks to be on, me, Mr. Gleason. I guess we're just confirming the county's naming of Judge Becerra and then Kyle Malius. Looking for a second.
Second.
Mr. Mendoza seconds. Ms. Trevino?
Okay, Mayor Houston.
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Gonzalez.
Aye.
Mr. Gleason.
Aye.
Mr. Mendoza.
Aye.
Mr. Prather. Mr. Scott. Ms. Garza.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes 5-0 with 2 absent.
Okay, and now we're on to item 16.
Okay, the city council will convene an executive session pursuant to the following sections of the Texas Government Code. A, section 551.071, consultation with attorney to receive legal advice regarding number 1, the following pending wastewater discharge application dockets. A, the application of Fleming Farms WWTP for proposed permit for new DPDES permit number WQ0015817001, TCEQ docket number 2020-0973-MWD, SOAH docket number 582-21-0576, and B, the application of Rattler Ridge LLC for proposed permit for the new DPDES permit number WQ0016049001, TCEQ docket number 2022-1046-MWD, SOAH docket number 582-23-07913. 2, potential solution involving a regional wastewater treatment plan in connection with the above. 3, the applicability of the standards of exemptions from the requirement for landowner consent to annexation under section 86.003 of San Marcos City Code when requesting utility service outside of the city limits.
And thank you for reading that, but we don't need to go into executive session again. Because for those of us who watch our program on a regular basis, knows that we post our executive session items on the 3 o'clock meeting and the 6 o'clock meeting, and if we're lucky, we get through with them during the 3 o'clock meeting, and we don't have to. But if we don't get finished, we have the option of doing it after at the 6 o'clock meeting. However, we were good. So, next item would be I need to report back on direction item. Do we need to make her read 17 again, or can we just say, let me respond to what 16 was?
If you can just read the first line before the colon and then say
Just
regarding the above.
regarding that.
Okay.
Okay, number 17, consider action by motion or provide directions to staff regarding the following executive session items held during the work session and/or a regular meeting, just read above, stated above.
Okay. We did receive all of that information, and for each, there was direction to staff. And now it is question and answer session with press and public. Ms. Trevino, if you will read that for formality.
I'm sorry, Mayor, the what?
If you'll go ahead and read item 4. I said it, but it's best when you do the formal reading.
The question and answer?
Yep.
Okay, the question and answer session with press and public related to the items on this agenda. I don't have the
Is there
rest.
anyone in the audience wishing to ask questions? We have a 3-minute time period that you can ask questions. For the answers that staff or council has immediately, we will answer immediately. If we need more time to research so we can provide you a thorough and totally accurate answer, then we respond by email and we post those on our message board, which is open to the public. Is there anyone in chambers who wishes to ask any questions? Is Ms. Capoletta online? All right, then Ms. Capoletta will join us online for a question and answer session.
Hey, y'all. I got a question for you. The little art project presentation he gave with all the pretty birds that Matthew likes, can city staff give an indication to the public how much they've spent so far on that project with the outside consultants and what the estimated cost is to roll out that project? And then the third rubric I was wondering is how much in city staff time it's cost the oh, I love this microphone. It's cost the taxpayer. So how much did we pay the consultants? How much is it going to cost to roll out? I need to focus like talking into the microphone. And then finally, how much have we, look, I look like y'all now with the microphone. Isn't this cute? I just love it. And you know what, y'all, just side note, I had to download firmware, fix my OS, get one stupid stinking cable from my MacBook Air it needed. And after all 3 hours of work, look at me in all my glory with my microphone, just like the rest of y'all's. So can we get some cost estimates from the staff? And I guess, because we got the 3, right? How much we paid the consultant, how much it's going to cost us to roll it out, and then how much do they estimate city staff salary time we spent? And how come they don't ever put this on the packet? Because I think that would be important for the public to know, what's the cost of the whole shebang? I stand by waiting for your answer, and it should be on the tip of your tongue. And if it isn't, that's concerning.
Do you have further questions, Ms. Capoletta?
No, I'm just going to hang tight for the answer.
Okay, so that's your only question. And I don't know all the answers to that. I think we were given some estimates early on as to cost, and before we do the final vote for it, we will know the cost, I do believe.
Mr. Condor's online, and he can answer that question.
Okay.
Josh Batt. Yes, the design consultant is MWM Design Group. Their contract is for $63,127. The design or the construction cost is anywhere from $200,000 to $250,000 for both signs. As of today, it's estimated construction cost. As far as staff hours goes, in a given week, I would estimate that he might spend 1 to 2 hours on it. Would be a rough estimate.
Could you repeat that? I was messing with my microphone settings and it got cut off. I'm sorry. I was trying not to bleed my audio. I was trying to be polite, but I didn't get the answer. Could you repeat that, please?
Sure. The design contract with MWM Design Group is for $63,127.
63,000.
The
I'm
construction,
talking to my microphone. I'm trying to record on my phone. Okay, 63,000 for the consultant. Yes, sir?
the construction cost is currently estimated between $200,000 and $250,000 for both signs.
$200,000 to $250,000 for both signs. I'm just making notes to myself. Okay, go ahead.
And then as far as estimated staff hours, I would assume it's about 1 to 2 hours a week at most at this time.
And what's the staff salary on that? How much y'all getting paid on that?
I don't have that information right now.
Okay. Hey, thanks for answering my question.
Okay, and that ends our question and answer session for this evening, so I'll take a motion to adjourn. Motion by Mr. Mendoza, seconded by
I'll second.
Mr. Gleason. Mr. Vino, let's see who wants to go home.
Mr. Gleason.
Aye.
Mr. Mendoza. Mr. Prather, Mr. Scott, Ms. Garza. Mayor Houston,
Aye.
and Mr. Gonzalez. Mr. Gonzalez?
Mr. Gonzalez, are you going to vote on going home?
No, it's time to stay over
Turn your microphone on.
Thank you.
Yes.
All
Motion
right.
passes 5-0, 2 absent.
All right, so we will gavel out at 7:40. That's 7:40. Go home, stay warm.